my friends, and welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday morning. Well, it won't be Saturday when you see this, but it's Saturday morning right now. I am actually about to head out with my daughter and my sister-in-law. We are going antique shopping, so I figured I would bring you along. So I hope you're ready for this super fun day. Let's get started. Okay, it is the next day. It is Sunday, and we had so much fun antiquing yesterday. I was with my daughter and my sister-in-law, and I have to tell you, antiquing on this side of the country is so much fun because you find so many primitive things, right? Like this side of the country is so much older than the West Coast, and you just find so many primitive things here, which I love, and I like bringing in those old used items as much as I can. Obviously, you can try to buy things that look a little bit older or used, but it's so nice to be able to buy things that are antiques. Right now you're hearing Luna. She's eating, so that's what you're hearing. But I'm gonna start with the first thing that I purchased that is my absolute favorite, and that is this really cool wooden window. It's actually from Mexico. It was taken off of a home in Mexico, and it has a little stamp saying that it came from Mexico, which is super cool. I paid $25 for this. It is real wood. It's beautiful. I love how much of the actual wood is showing, how it's a little bit darker. I have another one that looks very, very similar to this from the same antique shop, and it is in my bathroom, and I have it just kind of leaning against the wall, and I considered doing that with this one over in my living room, like where I have a little vignette over there with another antique picture frame, but I have a little special spot on the wall for this so that you'll see it every time you come into my house. So I got that one there. And then I also picked up this old antique masher, which I love so much. It was $5, and I primarily got it because I think it's great, like how it stands. I love the color, and I'm gonna put this probably in my hutch, or I could even put it on the shelves, like in between my dining room and my living room. I just think it's so pretty, and it'll add a nice touch there. And then my last favorite thing that I purchased there is this incredible cast iron spoon. Danny actually loved it. He was like, can we get all of our spoons to look like this? So this is an antique, spoon. It's from primitive times, and, from back in the 1800s. Probably earlier than that, but it is made out of cast iron, so it's like very, very sturdy. It's gorgeous, the color is stunning, and I can't wait to style this in my kitchen. So that was everything I got at that first antique shop. The one we started at was actually pretty pricey. These items that I found worked. So the masher was $5 and the cast iron spoon was $10 and the window was $25. We did get some other things for my daughter. She picked up some jewelry and a record. She has a record player that she got for Christmas. So, and then the second one we went to was actually new to both my sister-in-law and I. It's actually down the street from her. The coolest story, so it's a big, beautiful barn. It was built in 1930, and it was her father's dairy farm, and now it's a flea market, so tons of antiques in there. The prices were fantastic. So that is where I picked up this. So this awesome basket, which is an antique basket, I purchased this basket, I think it was for $10, maybe it was $12. It's got the cool little leather strap on it. I just love it. I love the color and I loved the size. I thought the size was really great. So I'm gonna find some place to style this. I'm not sure exactly where yet. I might put a plant in it, we'll see. And then I found some other items for my kitchen. I am a sucker for any kind of old vintage kitchen utensil, and if it's rusted and looks old, even better. So I'm gonna start with this adorable copper, I think this is like a milk, I said like a creamer jar, a creamer pitcher. Let's see, Copper Craft, I think it says on it. Doesn't have a year, but it's super nice and patinaed. Reminds me of my copper teapot that I purchased at an antique shop. I actually purchased that copper teapot at, oh no, it wasn't this one, it was a different one. But loved it. You know, I have a thing for little tiny creamer pitchers. I don't know what my deal is, but again, I thought it would look really pretty in my hutch cabinet. So I think I paid $8 for that one. The next one I got was another masher. This would be like a potato masher, and this one has the wood handle that looks like it did have paint on it at one time. It's got some remnants on there. The rest of it is metal. It is pretty rusted, but I like that. And I think I'm gonna hang this on the end of the island, so we'll see where that one goes. The next item, I think this is the last item, is this old antique cheese grater. It probably is not that old, right? Because it's a cheese grater and I'm not really sure when they started grating cheese, but even if it was just left outside and rusted and made to look old, I don't care. It looks really cool. Again, I think it'd be nice to hang on the end of the island or to display in the hutch. So those are the items that I picked up for the house for myself. And there were so many items that I wanted to purchase. I had to, you know, be careful and limit myself, but there were so many things I wanted to get. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna style them, and I'll show you what to do with your antiques when you get home. So we're gonna get started by hanging the window first. Like I said, when I purchased this, I wasn't sure if it was going to go on the wall or if it was going to be leaned up against the wall down on the floor. However, I love it so much, it needed to be seen like when you first come in my house. I just felt like the colors were so beautiful and warm, and so I had this section of wall behind the powder room door that was always just bare to me. Most of the time I try to keep the powder room door open so people know that's where the bathroom is. However, when we don't have people visiting, obviously everybody in my house knows that's where the powder room is, so I don't need to leave it open, and my kids are constantly closing the door, so which is fine. But I did decide to put the window here on the wall, and I think it looks gorgeous. I did not use my tape trick this time. I just kind of marked the wall with the nail. The problem was I couldn't really see where I marked it very well, and I marked it a little bit funky. So the other thing is I did not try to make it level, because it is definitely not, you know, a level window. So as you can see here, it's a little bit, you know, a little bit crooked, a little bit rustic, but I think that's what I love the most about it. And it just looks so beautiful in this spot. I think it would even be pretty with maybe a wreath on it or something. So We'll see, but that's where it's going to live for now. And now we're moving on to that cast iron spoon. So I have this tray on my counter that has those antique wooden measuring spoons. I purchased those at another antique shop, and then those charcuterie knives are actually from Target. I got those in the dollar section. This little bowl that I'm washing here is from TJ Maxx. I think it's technically a jam bowl, and it did come with a little porcelain spreader. However, I just usually have something else in it, depending on, you know, what I have going on for decor that month or week or minute. Who knows? It changes all the time. But for the last couple of weeks, those charcuterie knives have lived there. This is what the bowl looks like up close. It is gorgeous. It's got these beautiful roses all over it and the nice scalloped edge. I'm obsessed. I would love to find more like this, but I decided for now I was going to put those antique measuring spoons in the bowl, and then that beautiful cast iron spoon was going to live here on the towel. That towel is from Home Goods. Those little houses are from Hobby Lobby. And then obviously that little creamer has my clippings that I am working on propagating, and then my rubber plants. So I love the way this turned out. This spoon has to be on display. It is so beautiful, and I considered putting it on my stove. I just felt like it would get lost. And I wanted to talk really briefly about this cutting board. My mom had this made for me Christmas of 2020. It's my favorite recipe she ever made. It is her rice pudding. She made it for me all the time when I was growing up, especially when I was not feeling well. So it lives here in this space as well. Moving on to the hutch now. I wasn't 100% sure how I was going to utilize these items, but I knew I wanted them to live in the hutch. So I'm starting with the little copper creamer pitcher, and I'm putting it here on top of this sweet little chair, which I did purchase at a farm stand here in New England. And I put a couple of those charcuterie knives in it just to add in that wood element. And I keep closing the door because the way it looks with the door open is very different than how it looks with the door closed, because that bottom shelf, there is, you know, the shaker style cabinet prevents you from seeing the very bottom. So I have to be really mindful about that. That's why some things are on a riser there. And then the wood masher I put on that second shelf there next to those beautiful white bowls, which are from TJ Maxx, and my sister-in-law's copper mug for when she comes over and she has a Moscow Mule. This is what it looks like with the door closed. Now you're going to get a little up-close peek of how it turned out. I love it. I did not wash this little creamer pitcher. I don't have any intentions of washing it. I did wipe it down a little bit, but I wanted to leave all that pretty patina on there. I love how this looks. I love the little touches of wood. And then, of course, the antique masher. I just love this color. This is the color I want my chairs in my dining room to be. So, turned out really, really pretty. I am going to be moving all this around for spring, but for now, this is how it looks, and I love it. And now we're moving on to those antique kitchen utensils. So I am taking off the end of this hanging thing. I don't know what you call it, a hanger? I'm not sure. But I got this at IKEA. I can't link it for you, but I did find one very, very similar on Amazon. It is linked in my Amazon store. And what I'm doing here is I only have two like actual hooks. Everything else goes on to the pole. So that's what I'm doing. I'm hanging those things on there. The little end just pops off. It's rubber. And I just kind of hung them on there and styled them as if, you know, they were ready for me to grab and use, even though I have no intentions of ever using them. And I didn't wash these off either. That's probably one of my biggest tips when you get your antiques, is just be really careful with how much cleaning you do to them, because it can really take away that pretty antique look, which is the whole reason why we purchased them, right? So be very careful, especially with anything that's metal, you know, putting water to it. You got to be real careful with that. So I loved how this turned out. I didn't take anything away. I just added things. Some people think this looks kind of cluttered. I adore it. I like things to look full, and I just feel like it adds such a warm touch to the kitchen. Like I said before, even if those items were just left outside in the rain, they look beautiful, they look old, and I think they just add such a beautiful warm touch to the kitchen. And then finally, it's time to style this basket. Now, I went back and forth about where I was going to put the basket and what I was going to put inside of it, but I did end up going with this faux pothos plant. So I had purchased 2 of these. They are linked in my Amazon store. I will say, I think that they're probably one of the better looking faux plants that I have ever owned. The color is a little bit bright, but you know, that's okay. I do have the other one of them hanging in my kids' bathroom in that basket that I hung in there, but I didn't have a real plant that I wanted to put in here, and I wasn't sure how I would do that. So instead, I just put this faux plant and I put the basket here. I think it looks beautiful. I do think I need one more item to kind of lean against the wall with that antique picture frame, but I do love the way all this looks. Everything you see in this vignette here, except for the plant in that pretty linen basket, everything else is from antique shops here in the local area. I love this whole little vignette, and the basket just adds another layer of warmth. Okay, my friends, that is it for this antique shop and decorate with me. I hope you found some inspiration in this video. I hope it made antiques a little less intimidating. I know for me, when I first started antiquing, I was a little bit overwhelmed because some things are really pricey. Some things you just aren't really sure what you're gonna do with them when you get them into your home. So I hope that this made it a little bit more doable and a little less scary. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love for you to subscribe and come back for more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.